This is music, and this is an atrocious dungeon dive. Welcome to another dive into the Danish demo dungeon. This time we're going to have a look at a thrash metal band called Atrocity or Atro City, depending on how they spell their name on any given day. There's one demo by this band in the dungeon, and what's interesting about this band is, as far as I understand, they changed their name and became a different band known as Pixie Killers, and that was more of a kind of a humor-based band. But this one here, this demo by Atrocity, is thrash metal. But yeah, let's jump into the dungeon and have a look at it and see what happens. All right, here we are peeking into the refurbished dungeon, and if you want to use this wonderful resource for underground metal from the Danish scene from the late 80s through the 90s to the early 2000s, you can check it out yourself right here at danishdemodungeon.dk. Anyways, let's find Atrocity or Atro City by clicking not home but clicking bands. There you go. Then if we scroll down, it's right here. They're listed as Atrocity, but as you can see from their own logo here, from their band shot, very old school, grainy band shot, it says Atro City. So it's obviously kind of like a linguistic, kind of like a wordplay on Atrocity. And this, if we scroll down to the demo we're interested in, and that's kind of the only demo they have, at least on here. But I think it was the only official demo they released, Demo 1 from 1988. You can see that the cover art here, which is a depiction of a medieval town or city. I don't remember which city they're from, but it could be that city somewhere in Denmark. So that obviously kind of interplays with the wordplay in their band name, right? Atro City. So you have that, and it's actually a pretty professional looking kind of cover artwork for a demo from 1988. There are 4 tracks on here, as you can see. You have Intro Seduction, you have That Red Guy, you have Puta, and you have the 4-minute Adventure. So what kind of music are we dealing with here? We're dealing with straight up thrash metal, a bit adventurous, I would say, thrash metal, without necessarily being technical or progressive, but they do have some odd time signatures every now and then. They do have some unusual guitar harmonics every now and then, and they also have some song structures that are not always your verse, chorus, bridge, verse, chorus. So definitely kind of adventurous thrash metal. Maybe some of you would consider that to be progressive as well. That I'm not the one who gets to decide what's progressive or not. But yeah, thrash metal. The vocals might be a weak point to some people. They're not like your harsh, shouted, thrashy vocals, and they're not your powerful, kind of clean, Steve Grimmett, Joey Belladonna style of singing. They don't sound like him at all, but they're more in the angry young man kind of yelling at you, acid rain kind of vocals. Personally, I think they're fine. They're serviceable, and they kind of fit this music very well. But maybe that's just because I'm already a fan of Acid Rain. Again, he doesn't sound at all like the guy from Acid Rain, but maybe a similar approach. Anyways, the 4 tracks. Intro Seduction. Again, wordplay. Introduction, intro seduction. This one is, man, this is a riff fest. So many riffs just in the opening. It's almost like an late 70s, early 80s Rush kind of song where you have uh, a song that goes through a cycle of 3 or 4 different riffs before it really kicks in. It's kind of like this in Intro Seduction. You have like, I think it's 3 different mid-paced riffs, and they're all just awesome. And then it kicks into an up-tempo, also quite awesome riff. And the entire song is just a riff fest. Man, so many riffs. So maybe there's a bit of Dark Angel inspiration as well, because they were known for having lots of riffs in their songs. And this one came out in '88. That's also the year that And Justice for All came out. I don't know if this one came out before And Justice for All, or if they made this music after And Justice for All. If this one came out and some of the songs were written after And Justice for All, you might have an influence there too, because And Justice for All was a very influential album. Wonky production, but man, a lot of riffs in those songs too. In any case, you have a riff fest here in the form of Intro Seduction. And the riff fest continues in That Red Guy. And actually their style, although they're very adventurous, I would say the style on this demo is very focused. The songs do have a lot of different influences. There's probably some Voivod influence as well. A lot of different influences and a lot of different things going on in each song, but you can hear that each of the 4 songs that, they come from the same band, the same demo as well. So it is quite focused. That Red Guy has a very cool opening with some clean guitars doing some kind of weird stuff, and then some accentuations on the drums and the bass, and I think another clean guitar. And that's just a pretty cool way to open up a thrash metal song. That Red Guy is another great song. Puta is not a bad song, but to me it's kind of the weak point of this demo. It's still decent. It does, to my ears, it starts out a bit lackluster, but then it becomes more and more interesting, actually. Lots of different things going on towards the end of the song. But it's just the tempo and the riff, actually, the couple of riffs in the opening that are a bit underwhelming to me, but maybe you will like it, who knows. And then you have the 4-minute adventure, which is around 4 minutes of thrash metal, and it's all, again, good. It's fun, it's a riff fest, and it's interesting. So if you like your thrash metal, I think this is a pretty good demo to go and check out. And I think if you come across a copy of this demo, grab it. Even if you don't want to keep it, grab it and pass it on to someone else, because it is kind of a treasure. It's really good stuff musically. I really like the riffage. Maybe some of the riffage reminds me a bit of Acid Rain as well. And the guitar tone reminds me a little bit of Acid Rain too. It has a very dry guitar tone. And actually kind of a dry guitar tone. I don't know who produced this demo, but I do know that this kind of dry guitar tone was a bit in the late 80s and early 90s, and I think maybe it was an influence from Slayer. I remember when we did our demo in one of the bands I was in, the producer, who was one of the former guitarists of Sliced Pimples, and he was also in Rigid Domain, he actually said that he would like us to try and have this dry, almost not distorted guitar tone that he liked from Slayer's albums. So maybe it's a similar thing that's going on here. So apart from the music being pretty good, and me certainly recommending that you pick up a copy of this if you find one, and if you can't find one, just go and check out the music right here. One thing that is interesting, as far as I know, maybe I'm completely mistaken here, is that Atro City would later lay the foundation for a band called Pixie Killers, and I think there is a demo in here. I think there's some of the same members at least, but I could be completely mistaken. But they have this demo, Haunting Season, from 1990. And Pixie Killers, another thrash metal band, leaning more towards humor. Pixie is one of the ways, not a precise, but it's one of the ways you can translate the Nisse, or tomte, I think in Swedish. They're called Nisse in Danish. This kind of gnome-like creature associated with Christmas. So sometimes they're translated into elves, or sometimes pixies, sometimes gnomes, and they're not quite the same. But so, you know, this is a bit more humorous. The music is not too far from Atro City or Atro City. So again, I could be completely mistaken, but I think Pixie Killers was Atro City or Atro City 0.2 or 2.0. And Pixie Killers actually ended up releasing at least one full-length album, and they had one pretty cool song on there called Even a Sailor Can Go Wrong. But yeah, so Pixie Killers, check this demo out too if you want it. I think I knew actually a guy who had a copy of the Pixie Killers demo, and I think that same guy also bought their CD when that came out. But that's Atro City or Atro City, the 1988 demo 1, 4, well 3 actually very, very, very good thrash metal songs, and one actually quite decent thrash metal song with some underwhelming, some lows, but also some highs. So to me, great stuff. I recommend checking out this demo. And again, like I said, if you come across a copy of it, a physical copy in the wild, and it's not too expensive, you know, just grab it. There you go, Atro City or Atro City, whatever you want to call it, I guess. Do check them out. You know, you can listen to their stuff in the dungeon, or if you come across a copy of this demo tape in the wild, you can try to pick it up. It might be very expensive though. Who knows? Thanks for watching.